You know what? There are two things that are important in life to make your life more than you can imagine it to be. One is to be a little bit playful, have fun with your life. But the most important one is self-discipline. Are you self-disciplined? Hi there, Neil here, the Twisted Light Worker. What is it that separates the leaders of the world from the rest of us? What is it that creates a warrior out of an individual character, no matter who that is, male or female? What is it, this warrior spirit? What is it that causes us to become the most that we can be? What is it? It's discipline. It's self-discipline. In this world today, we are taught and programmed. Literally, we're MK Ultra programmed through our education, through television, through entertainment, through right on down from our great-grandparents down to us. We've been programmed to be obedient. And that means we don't think for ourselves. That means we just follow all of the arbitrary rules that someone else has made. What is it that's going to cause us to step away from all of that and awaken to our most powerful self that we can become? See, God hath not given a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. So many people get caught up in the trap of only pursuing love. But what about power and sound mind? What about them? All of those things, all three of those things have been given to each and every one of us in abundance. But it's up to us to awaken that warrior spirit inside of us. What is it? It's self-discipline. Self-discipline is what carries us through the wall and through the wall of forgetfulness, so we remember who we really are. So we remember. That means we connect with the greater self of all that we really are. Even Jesus said, I am in the Father, and the Father is in me, and I am in you. And I speak not of myself, but I speak of the Father within me. So the warrior spirit within Jesus is who we are listening to when he speaks. It's not Jesus the man, it's the warrior spirit. And the warrior spirit is inside each and every one of us. He even said so. He said, follow me. Don't wait. Don't sit on your ass and wait for me to save you. Stand up and be a man or a woman and save yourself. What does that take? It takes discipline. It takes discipline. See, the warrior only has one possession. That one possession is their discipline. With discipline, they begin to own their personal power, their energy, awareness, and intent. They can take their discipline with them into the non-ordinary and into death itself, whereas nothing else can fit in quite the same way. See, we've been programmed to be obedient slaves. And so therefore, many fear being the adept. They would only want to visit occasionally. They fear not being able to go back to their normal condition. And that normal condition is what they've been programmed into living. The awareness of an adept is one in which the normal range is felt in decline. And that's not the greatest sensation to go back to or even visit. And being the adept has more demands than being normal. Adeptship must be fed discipline. Normalcy will have none of that. It's not the truth that resonates. That's way too easy. It's the truth that utterly confounds. That's the truth that will transform you and set you free. So we were all looking for freedom. We are all looking for that self-expression of that divinity that's inside each and every one of us. I've said it in so many videos from 2017 back. I've been saying that spark of the divine is inside each and every one of us. Every human being from the North Pole to the South Pole has that spark of the divine within. But it takes discipline to shut the ego's chatter off and actually acknowledge that that warrior spirit's inside of each and every one of us. See, warriors are not born, and nor are they made. Warriors create themselves through trial and error, pain and suffering, and their own ability to conquer their own faults. The hardest thing in the world is to assume the mood of a warrior. It is of no use to be sad and complain and feel justified in doing so, believing that someone else is always doing something to us. Nobody is doing anything to anybody, much less to a warrior. You see, thoughts are like a river. They flow. But some ways that a river flows is more conducive to seeing through the river, even though the river is flowing. The warrior knows the futility of trying to hold back the force of an entire river that is bound to flow with just one hand. So working on one's quality of energy rather than the amount of thought is the ideal of the adept. Energy always supersedes thought. You see, thoughts are things. Thoughts are powerful things. We create our reality with our thoughts. We do that on an individual basis in the dream of the world, and we do that on the global basis of all humanity with the dream of the planet. We create the reality that we are in. It is up to us to create the changes in the world around us right here, right now. That's what this great awakening is all about. It's all about awakening our true self, which is the warrior spirit within. Our true self is the warrior spirit within, and thoughts create things. I've studied ancient metaphysics and Toltec now for 45 years and was born with attributes of shamans, and I'm just now claiming those attributes. And so all of this has become common sense to me. But most people have not been exposed to any of this type of thinking. You see, self-discipline to shut the ego's chatter off allows us to experience the world through the energy, through the energetic aspect of all reality, this false reality. What is this reality? It's just one big field of massive vibrations. I've put this in other videos, but I'm going to add it in this one too because it's very powerful. See, the field of the universe is nothing but just one big massive field of energy and vibrations, and everything's moving around. And here's you in the middle of that field of the vibrations. And here's me over here. We're all aspects of the same one field. That's where we are all connected. That's where we are all one. That is what is meant by we are all the same inside, because each and every one of us is part of this field of the universe. Every one of us is. And here's you. And each one of those spokes on this wheel is a different path that you can take. It's a trajectory that's possible for you to take. And it takes discipline to be aware of this energy field, to shut the ego's chatter off, to realize that we all are part of one big infinite field of vibrations, energy. Energy, absolutely. Energy, frequency, and vibrations. It's all what we are. Tesla said it. So many of the ancient metaphysics, they taught what the field of the universe really is. It's I am in the Father, and the Father's in me, and I am in you. When you think about that in relationship to the field of the universe, it starts to make sense. I do workshops awakening people to those, and I use an awful lot of metaphysics and guided meditations in those workshops to awaken you to that warrior spirit that's inside you. These videos that I do online, I put an awful lot of quotes from the Toltec because they absolutely clearly state aspects of metaphysics. It's beautiful how it all comes together. You see, we have to remember the cause that produced the effect. So we can never forget the cause that produced the effect. It's how warriors learn to live by intent, energy, and awareness. It's the path to the full array of sentience. The full array of sentience. You're not your complete self until you start to be aware of that aspect within inside you, that warrior spirit that's inside you deeply. We are more powerful than we can imagine. The works that I should do, others will do too, is what Jesus said. John 14:10-12. Look it up. Look it up. It's what all the gurus teach. All the gurus, they teach the same thing. It's not me. Don't look to me. Become more of you. And that takes discipline. It takes absolute tons of discipline to shut off that ego chatter. To be a warrior is not a simple matter of wishing to be one. It's rather an endless struggle that will go on, oh man, it'll go on to the very last moment of our lives. Nobody is born a warrior in exactly the same way that nobody is born an average man. We make ourselves into one or the other. And that's what this whole awakening really is. This whole awakening is absolutely just that. It's learning to tap into the qualities that we've been given from creative source. And I don't care what you call that creative source. God is whatever you see it to be in your heart. There's 7.5 billion people on the planet, and I guarantee every one of us, every one of those 7.5 billion people, all see God in a different way, personally. Why? Because it's that part of God that's inside each and every one of us. We all are endowed with that spirit, the warrior spirit that's inside each and every one of us. For God hath not given us a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. It takes discipline to awaken that. It takes discipline, not obedience to other person's rules and nonsense. We have to realize that this great awakening is a whole lot more than what the majority of people perceive it to be. They think that it's just being aware of the corruption. Well, that's part of it. Because when we're aware of the corruption that's on the planet, when we realize that evil exists because of our own blind ignorance to it, once we see it, then we can set about the task of getting rid of it. We can pull the weeds in the garden. I did a whole video on pulling the weeds, and I'll put the link to that in the description below. It's up to us. It's up to us to create the reality of where we're going to, and it takes discipline. It takes discipline. We can't just sit back and watch TV and create 15-second memes. What a pile of bullshit. What a pile of crap. We got to do a whole lot more. It takes a whole lot more of the warrior spirit in action, and that takes discipline. So discipline truly is the greatest possession of a warrior. And it's self-discipline. It's not discipline pushed on us by other people. That's obedience. There's a huge difference between obedience and discipline. We have to become more self-disciplined and create the world of our dreams. It's up to us. Each and every one of us have to do our part in making this whole world, this whole planet, everything about it. It's up to us to make the changes that make the world heaven on earth. And that is where we're at. That is where we're at. The two timelines that have split because of my metaphysical background and shaman attributes and studying Toltec, I know for a fact that there's two timelines, and they split. And they started to split at the end of 89 or end of the 80s when the wall came down. That's when compassion started to grow. And the possibility of creating heaven on earth started to become magnified. By 2000, when the Cold War was happening, nobody pushed the nuke button. We made it. We passed the test. We're not going to repeat the past anymore. That's how come it's so hard to figure out where the future's going. Because we're not going to repeat the past anymore, because we've learned. We've learned as a whole, as the dream of the planet. There's two dreams, the dream of the world and the dream of the planet, coming from the Toltec perspective. And I love this way of looking at it. Because in the dream of the world, we worry about what's happening to our own personal lives. And in the dream of the planet, we start to tap into where we are going as a whole, as a collective, as we are awakening to where our station is and our place in the universe is. The dream of the planet encompasses the whole universe. So, fear not being disciplined, fear being programmed, and fear being controlled by others. That is freedom. And it's an unending job. It's totally an unending job of each and every one of us to awaken that warrior spirit inside. You see, never forget the cause. Never forget the cause that produced the effect, and that goes right back to your thinking. It's not a simple matter. It's not a simple matter to be a warrior. Rather, it's an endless struggle that will go on to the very last moment of our lives. The last breath will all be part of that endless struggle to be the warrior. And that takes discipline. You see, we make ourselves into one or the other, being nobody is born a warrior in exactly the same way that nobody is born an average man. So you pick what you want to be. You pick what you want to be. An average man will sit back and obey. They won't become the most that they can become. And therefore, the world won't become as great as it could become. It takes great warriors to make a great world. The dream of the planet. The dream of the planet. So, when we shift our energy from fear to power with compassion, we will find we were always loved beyond human understanding. It takes willpower to get the ego out of the way and silence. It is not a passive act. Action with the power of intent will stop the ego's chatter and lead you to freedom. That is where we are going as a whole. That is the great awakening. We are awakening to our full potential as men and women. Yes. That's what the purpose of the workshops that I do is all about, awakening to that warrior spirit inside each and every one of us. It's inside you. It's inside you. But you have to silence that ego's chatter. You have to be self-disciplined to put away your bad habits. You have to be self-disciplined, being able to discipline yourself to spend a little bit of time researching and comprehending of what really is going on. It takes a little bit of discipline. In fact, it takes a lot of discipline. And self-discipline makes life easy. But no discipline You're just continuing down the path of being controlled by others. Being controlled by others, be it games, be it porn, be it drugs, be it nonsense and useless entertainment. All of those things are control mechanisms by the satanic cult that wants us not to awaken up to the God that's inside each and every one of us. That warrior spirit, that spark of the divine that's inside every human being from the North Pole to the South Pole. It takes discipline to shut that ego chatter off so we can actually hear that wee small voice inside. So, I hope that sometime in the future you may attend one of my workshops. I've done them only live and in person so far, and I'm in the process of putting together workshops online, so maybe we'll meet again in one of the workshops. But I hope you follow all my videos. Click the link down below, share the videos, and study them and research them and realize that I'm sharing some deep stuff that'll help you become more of who you potentially can become. Help activate that discipline that's inside you that can awaken you to your warrior spirit. Because once you do, the warrior spirit starts to build you. At first, you have to build the link to it. You have to connect to that intuition. You have to connect with that master within. You have to connect with the spark of divine that's inside you. Once you do, and you practice that, it begins to build you. It begins to build you, guide you, inspire you, encourage you, rejuvenate you, give you energy. All these things are part of what the warrior spirit is, and that is you. For God hath not given a spirit of fear, but of love and of power and of sound mind. And it takes discipline to tap into all of those. All of those three things are given to each and every one of us in abundance. In abundance. Looks like my software froze on me, so we'll try putting the ending on here now. I hope you like this video. Share it with others. Join my channel. And if you love the content that I share, buy me a coffee. The link is up there. Actually, the link is down in my description below. And a big thank you to everyone who has bought me coffees in the past. It's much appreciated. Very much appreciated. Helps me in my little pad here. So, I hope this video has created in you a little bit of insight into the power of self-discipline and how it leads you to freedom. And it's what the Great Awakening is all about, is awakening to our higher potential, that master within, that warrior spirit within. And so together we can create a better world than we can ever imagine. And we just have a little bit of time to go to pull more weeds, expose the weeds that haven't been exposed and pull them too. And let's get on with it. Let's create heaven on earth. And so I wish each and every one of you peace profound. I wish you peace profound.